Sadako lived in a typical Japanese wooden house with a tiled roof. All around were many other similar houses. All these houses were in a city called Hiroshima. Sadako had an older brother called Masahiro. At the beginning of this story, Sadako was only 2 years old and her brother was 4. The two of them used to play together all the time. They lived just with their mother because their father was a soldier and away at the war. One morning in August, at exactly 8:14, suddenly there was a terrific flash, and then a huge wind that smashed against their house, knocking it sideways and collapsing it, then a fearful noise of falling houses all around them, and then silence. "Masahiro! Sadako! Where are you?" Their mother's voice was calling. Sadako had been blown yards away, but was found sitting unharmed amid the wreckage. When their mother gathered them up and went outside, it was a scene of utter devastation. Not a single house was still standing. Everywhere there were wounded people crying with pain. What on earth had caused that terrible destruction? It was only later that they heard that an atom bomb, the first atom bomb, had been dropped on their city, Hiroshima. On that day and over the next few months, 140,000 people died. Sadako and her family had been a mile away from where the bomb had dropped, and thankfully they were all safe. Over the next few years, life gradually returned to normal. Sadako started going to school, and as she got older, she became a great runner. In her last year at primary school at the sports day, she was the champion runner, enabling her team to win the relay race. But even as she finished that race, Sadako felt a little dizzy. That first dizziness soon passed away, but as the weeks and months went by, the dizzy feelings came back again and again. Sadako's mother took her to the hospital to see the doctor. After the doctor examined her, he said to Sadako's mother, "I'm sorry to tell you, but Sadako has leukemia, the atom bomb disease." "But how could she? The atom bomb happened over 9 years ago," Sadako's mother said. "Even so," said the doctor, "the radiation that Sadako received then is what has caused her present illness. But perhaps we can cure her. We must have her in the hospital." Weeks went by, and Sadako was very sad. But one day in August, a nurse brought in a bunch of paper cranes, all threaded on strings. "People say," the nurse told Sadako, "that if you make 1,000 paper cranes, you can make a wish, and your wish will come true." Sadako's eyes shone with excitement. "That is what I will do," she said. "I will make 1,000 cranes, and then I will get well and can go to school." It wasn't so easy to make the cranes, but after a while Sadako mastered the knack of it. Soon she had made 10, then 20, then 30. When Sadako's friends from school came to visit her in hospital in their smart new junior high school uniform, they saw her making the cranes, and they started to help her. Even after they left to go home, Sadako still went on making the cranes on her own. Soon she had made 100 cranes, then 200, then 300. Every time that Sadako's mother or father came to visit her in hospital, Sadako was busy folding cranes. "Sadako, you mustn't overdo it. You'll tire yourself out," her mother said. "But, Mum, I've got to make 1,000 cranes, and then I'll get well and come back home." But gradually, Sadako was getting worse. Sometimes her temperature went right up. Gradually she developed a cough. But on Sadako went, making cranes. One day Sadako folded her 644th paper crane, but it was the last she would ever make. A few days later, in October, she died. The news of Sadako and her cranes spread right through the city of Hiroshima. All the children, and many of the adults too, started making paper cranes in memory of Sadako. At the time of Sadako's funeral, all the children brought not just flowers, but their cranes as well, hundreds and hundreds of them, and filled her coffin with them. After the funeral, some of the children said, "Let's make a memorial to Sadako," and the idea caught on. The children went out into the streets and started collecting money. The story of Sadako spread not just in Hiroshima, but throughout Japan and even abroad. Almost everyone was willing to give to a memorial, not just in memory of Sadako, but with a prayer for peace, a prayer that atom bombs and any other sort of bomb would never be used again. And so, 3 years after Sadako had died, on May the 5th, Children's Day in Japan, a Children's Peace Monument was unveiled in the Hiroshima Peace Park, a tall white concrete frame on legs. And on top of the concrete frame there is a girl holding a big crane above her head, a commemoration of Sadako, of course. Underneath the concrete frame there is a block of marble, and written in children's language are the words, "This is our cry, this is our prayer, to build peace in the world." Even today, 64 years after the bomb fell and 54 years after Sadako died, crowds of Japanese children come on outings from their school, often bringing bunches of cranes they have made to sing a song of peace and to ring the bell that hangs under the concrete tower as a sign of remembrance and a prayer for peace. This little girl, whom I met in the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum, had brought her own card, with cranes she had made and stuck on, and in yellow and gold colors were the Japanese characters Heiwa, meaning peace.